Good evening and welcome. This is The Last Word. I'm Vishnu with the latest from Kashmir following the horrific Pahalgam attack that claimed 26 lives. Tensions are soaring after India suspended the Indus Waters Treaty, a move that Pakistan called an act of war. Pakistani nationals are being rounded up from across the country and being told to leave India. They have to leave on the 27th if it's a medical case, then on the 29th if they've come on a medical visa. In a significant development, the US Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, has pledged America's support, stating, "We are with you as you hunt down those responsible." With 73 congressmen, 20 senators and top US leaders, including President Trump, backing New Delhi, momentum is building for potential military strikes. All this comes on a day when there was machine gun fire across the line of control. It's called speculative fire, which was done by Pak forces to test Indian defenses. Indian soldiers retaliated with no loss of life.
There are many reasons why line of control Uri sector, LOC Uri, where I'm standing here, the LOC is right behind me, is so important. It's also a reason why so many people know about it. The 2016 surgical strikes happened just across the line of control in that direction. It was from there that terrorists had slipped in and attacked the Uri army camp just a short distance from where I'm bringing you this report from the ground. And it is also here, just a day after the Pahalgam massacre, that infiltrators managed to slip across the line of control, but then they ran into the Indian army and were killed. Two of them were killed. LOC Uri has always been a restive sector along the entire 700 plus kilometer line of control. The truth of the matter is, it has been considered an infiltration highway in some ways. Just across the LOC, there are many launch pads. Those were the ones that were hit during the 2016 surgical strikes. Of course, the film that came out has pushed the word Uri into the public and popular consciousness. It's part of our culture now as well. But Uri itself is no joke. There's nothing entertaining about being deployed in this area. It's a sector which is shaped like a bulge with three sides, basically Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. So you're surrounded on three sides by Pakistan-occupied Kashmir if you're in the army and deployed in this area. And it's never very difficult, considering that in many parts of LOC Uri, the Pakistan army posts have a bit of an advantage. They're not very far apart. Ceasefire violations, including the ones that happened last night, took place in this sector and many others as well. Whatever action comes next from the Indian government, one can be reasonably sure that LOC Uri will be part of it. Now, whether there's going to be military action or not is, of course, entirely a political decision. But here, as we've interacted with the army officers and soldiers, we will never take their names, of course, because they're deployed here on duty, doing their professional work and carrying out a very, very difficult job at a very, very difficult time. All we can say is we wish them well, we wish them Godspeed, we thank them for their service, and we hope they don't need to be sent into battle. With Ashwini Mehra at LOC Uri, Shiv Arur, NDTV.
Well, joining us now, Air Chief Marshal Fali Homi Major, the former Chief of Air Staff. Thank you very much, sir, for being with us. Sir, do you believe that we are going down a certain path where a military option might be where we are headed?
Well, good evening, Vishnu, and thank you for having me here. Given the message sent out by the Prime Minister from Bihar yesterday, and a very wonderfully drafted one, both in Hindi and English, it leaves no doubt in my mind that most certainly a military option will be exercised.
Sir, after the 26/11 terror attack, when you were the Chief of Air Staff, there was a situation, there was a time when you were asked to come up with plans for airstrikes on Pakistan. You've already revealed that you actually did come up with those plans, but they were rejected. We find ourselves in India today at another situation where obviously the armed forces chiefs have been asked or will be asked, look, what are the military plans available to us? And then the government will act one way or the other. What was the scenario that you personally faced, and how close were we at that stage, in your opinion, to airstrikes?
To begin with, Vishnu, the plans may not have been rejected, as you say. Probably they were not carried out for reasons best known to them. Now, this, the scenario which is building up presently is, I would say, a little more serious and more determined than perhaps what it was on 26/11. But as someone else had mentioned, that the final decision of executing the options given to the political leadership of the country depends on their will to carry them out. And given this continuous occurrence of these kind of dastardly attacks, I think this country has had enough, and it's time now that we absolutely annihilate the roots of this terror which originates from across the border.
Sir, there is a retaliation which we are entirely entitled to take. But there is also a retaliation which might follow from Pakistan. It boils down at one stage to our stomach to continue as the threshold keeps going up and there's attack and counterattack. How important is it for us to understand that there are no quick fire solutions in a military conflict? That ultimately it's not optics that you're looking to achieve. You're looking to hurt the enemy, and the enemy is looking to hurt you, and they are a capable force, whether it's the Army, Air Force, primarily the Pakistani Air Force and the Pakistan Army. Therefore, that is a reality that we need to accept, right?
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, this question of the escalation ladder, the nuclear bogey, have been bandied for a very, very long time. You must understand that even a small conflict situation or a limited offensive, if you're planning, you always factor in the escalation ladder. I mean, if you don't, then there's something wrong. You definitely factor in the escalation ladder and you're ready for it.
The reason I asked that question is because in 2019 we did the Balakot strikes. It was perhaps, we wanted to see a lot more emerging out of Balakot. That didn't, for various reasons, take place. But it was an attack, right? And fighter jets across in Pakistani airspace. But the day after, Pakistan retaliated. And then a very brave fighter pilot, Abhinandan, went across in a MiG-21. He was shot down, not before he shot down a Pakistani aircraft. But the loss of one fighter aircraft of the Indian Air Force, a pilot in Pakistani captivity, it caught the imagination of the nation. It sparked intense outrage. But I think the point I'm trying to make is, if there are air duels between India and Pakistan which may take place, there may be many more Abhinandans who are captured, many other Pakistanis who are captured, many Indians who are shot down, many Pakistanis who are shot down. We are dealing with potentially a near peer when it comes to the air warfare front. So therefore, again, my question is this: as we plan a military retaliation, is that something we need to keep in mind?
Absolutely. There is no doubt in my mind about that. Now, going back to 2019, this is 2025. What happened on the day after the Balakot strike, I'm quite sure will never be repeated. Because in this time lapse between 2019 and today, the Air Force has got aeroplanes, platforms, and weapons which were not available then. And Pakistan will think 100 times before trying that kind of a retaliation. I'm quite sure that in case this operation does take place, now I'm quite sure that as we speak, the people involved must be already planning or must have already planned. And the very fact that the Prime Minister made the statement that he did, I'm quite sure that he wouldn't have done it unless he had been briefed by all concerned.
All right.
And that
yeah.
and that gives me the courage and the hope and the confidence to say that our armed forces today, whether it be the Air Force, Army, or the Navy, are very well prepared for what may follow after whatever initial actions that they take.
All right, Air Chief Marshal Fali Homi Major, thank you very much, sir, for speaking to us and sharing that perspective. It's one that I entirely share with you. Joining us now, Major General Ashok Kumar and SP Vaid, one of our finest police officers, the former Director General of Police in Jammu and Kashmir. Mr. Vaid, let me come to you first. Basic question. It's been a couple of days now. Those terrorists are still on the loose, those who carried out the attacks in Pahalgam. Does that come as a huge disappointment, a surprise, that despite the massive efforts to try and hunt them down, they seem to have disappeared?
Good evening, Vishnu. No, I am not disappointed in such operations. Time is a crucial factor. It does take time because they are thick jungles. You must have seen the topography, huge mountains and thick jungles, and they have their network supporting them. There's no doubt about it. Without local support, Pakistani terrorists could not have operated in the manner they did. Let me assure you, we will get them. The operations which are going on, it's a matter of time. We will get them. They will not be able to escape the security grid. We have lot of inputs. I think let's wait give some time to the field commanders. We will get them.
General Kumar, this is your own sense that it takes time sometimes for encounters to materialize. That it is a matter of time before we hunt them down. We have technology which was not available earlier on. We are more proficient in night operations using thermal sights, particularly from drones. And therefore, given the strength and the intensity of the operations, they will be caught.
Definitely, there is no doubt about it. Only thing is that you cannot predict the timeline for such arrests. But with the kind of intensity, seriousness, and all pervasive resources have been put together to ensure that these perpetrators of this kind of crime are caught or eliminated. Some of them whose name had come, you would have seen in the Wiley news today that those houses have been destroyed. Some people have got caught. Somebody related to this incident, based on the statement of one of the tourists, has also been arrested. So I think once the initial inputs are integrated, we will have a more clearer picture, and with the resources at our disposal, I'm sure we will get to reach these terrorists. But I think, looking only at these terrorists is going to be a minor issue. We have to look at the perpetrators who are behind such heinous crimes, and that is our Western neighbor, Pakistan. So the focus now should be as to how we all eliminate the activities of Pakistan, which does not support such kind of activities in future. Multiple kind of efforts have been made, multiple kind of gestures have been made. We have gone in for certain bold steps like surgical strikes, Balakot strikes. But the Pakistan's effort to continue with proxy war in Jammu and Kashmir continues till date. So I think the nation has to now focus in a big way as to how that challenge can be addressed. And I'm sure the current decision of the Cabinet Committee on Security, those 5 decisions which have been taken. So you just look at the Indus Waters Treaty decision. Though it may appear simplistic to start with, that currently we don't have adequate dams to divert water, to hold water and things like that. But if you see, once since the time this agreement had come into being in 1960, thereafter we have had 3 wars. We had in 65, we had in 71, we had in 99. At all these provocations and conflicts, this treaty was not put in abeyance. But this time it has been put. So that is indicative of the government's mindset, the kind of seriousness with which it is going to respond. Whether that response is going to come tomorrow, the day after a few days, after some time, in what form, full-fledged war, subconventional war, or a mix of, the resources being utilized, that will be known. But the seriousness with the government is actually too high to address this issue in totality.
Mr. Ved, there is this entire question. It's something the government has accepted that there has been obviously an intelligence failure. Otherwise, those people wouldn't have been killed. Have we, given the success in holding off terrorists in the last several years, particularly north of the Pir Panjal range, at some stage did complacency set in? Did we lose human intelligence? Was there a dearth in leadership, poor planning, or all of this?
Vishnu, it appears, for quite some time, Kashmir was actually improving on a lot of fronts, and things had almost normalized. And focus was more on Jammu region. If you recall, last about 2 years, the focus was in Jammu, the hills of Jammu region, and some certain groups had managed to infiltrate, particularly those who have been given jungle warfare, mountain warfare training, special type of training, and some of them, amongst them, the regulars of Pakistan Army, the SSG commandos, and the retired army men. They in fact inflicted a lot of damage, a lot of loss to our forces in Rajouri, Poonch area, and in other districts. We had incidents initially in Rajouri, Poonch. Then, if you recall, the day Prime Minister was taking oath, Riyasi, that attack on the bus happened. After that, we had an incident in Kathua. Yesterday, we had encounter in Basantgarh of Udhampur, and there is presence in Doda and Bilawar area of Kathua also. Similarly, in Kashmir Valley, they had not attacked tourists earlier in the manner they have done this time. And that, I think, must be the complacency that no one is going to attack tourists. But I think that I was listening to a report that during the joint party, all-party meeting, the senior officer of the IB who was briefing mentioned that this resort was supposed to open every year around the time in June when Amarnath Yatra starts. But it was opened on the 20th of this month. And I'm surprised on 22nd this incident happens. So without informing the security officials, how could this resort be opened by, let's say, whoever is controlling it? Who ordered the opening of this? Was it Pahalgam Development Authority CEO? I'm told there is no CEO in the Pahalgam Development Authority. Who was the second in charge? Did he seek permission of the Deputy Commissioner and the District Superintendent of Police? Was arrangement for the security asked for? We need to ask all these questions. And how did this, it opened only on 20th, and on 22nd this incident happens. There is a mix-up? How did terrorists come to know, and security agencies didn't know about this resort being open? So these are all relevant questions which I think investigators must find it out.
General Kumar, the fact that, I don't know if you've seen this in the last little while, the Director of National Intelligence in the United States, Tulsi Gabbard, has made a very significant statement where she says that America will assist India in hunting down these terrorists. We've also got dozens, upwards of 70 US congressmen and congresswomen supporting India. You've got more than 20 senators who've supported India, and I'm not even talking about President Trump down. How important is this support, particularly from an intelligence standpoint? Because that's crucial as we hunt down these terrorists and perhaps look for them elsewhere as well.
It is very, very important because the international support is very critical for us. especially when we are contemplating some kind of serious actions. If you recall, even prior to 1971 war, Mrs. Indira Gandhi that time, galvanized the world support in the favor of India, highlighting the problems which was being faced by the country due to excessive inflow of refugees. So once you are inclined to take some serious action, it is very, very important that the leaders who matter, the countries who matter, the agencies which matter, they are on board with you. It does two things. Firstly, it supports you in your endeavors, and it also prohibits the opponents joining your immediate adversary. For example, in this case, China. Let's say, suppose tomorrow India takes some serious action against Pakistan, and if China knows that the whole world is there, standing with India, then it will be more reluctant to join this kind of fight, more so when it is not its fight. So garnering of the international support is very, very critical. And one is very happy to note that the United States of America, and not only the government, but all other agencies in America, the intelligence agencies, the people from Middle East, the Israel, and a number of other countries are rallying behind India. And as we go ahead, I think more and more countries will be going in for support. And because terrorism, and especially the Islamic terrorism, is one thing which is affecting most of the countries in the world. And therefore, everybody is going to come forward for this, joint effort.
In fact, General Kumar Tulsi Gabbard did refer to Islamic terrorism in her message, in her tweet. Mr. Ved, the other big concern, of course, is that while Pakistan tests us through firing across the line of control, we've seen a little bit of that today, not very much, just firing to test our defenses. Our army is going to be busy now, either in operations along the line of control or just holding the line of control. But at the same time, terrorism has been activated both north of the Pir Panjal and south of the Pir Panjal, with terrorist groups coming together and operating in a sense. So this being the case, the real worry is that this is going to be long drawn out before we can get some sort of normalcy in Kashmir. In terms of the fight against terrorism inside Kashmir itself, how do you foresee the path ahead?
Vishnu,
Mr. Ved, go ahead. Yeah.
There's no doubt that armies, all hands will be full with the kind of situation that is developing, and the internal part of the that is interland will have to be looked after by CAPF and the J&K police together, and I think we have sufficient strength. There's nothing to it. Numbers are not issues, and we have some of the RR units where we would need them. Maybe that will be available, or we have a good number of paramilitary well-trained people available. We can go after these terrorists once. Let the army be free for the major task which is ahead. And I think there is nothing to be worried. We will be able to take on them.
Mr. Ved, another question to you. Do you believe that, what India is doing, short of any military action, is the correct way to do it? That we are building up diplomatic support, we are rallying the domestic constituency, we have taken huge steps against Pakistan, asking their citizens to leave our country, telling our citizens to come back. Do you believe that these are all important steps as opposed to knee-jerk military responses?
Vishnu, absolutely. See, diplomatic steps are very, very important. And in fact, the most significant was keeping in abeyance the Indus Waters Treaty. That will definitely pinch it. It may take time. And briefing the huge activity in Delhi, like briefing of the ambassadors of all important countries, all party meeting, briefing. I think having the approval of the president, all these brief. I think the service chiefs, the intelligence agencies, they all have their action plans ready. Mobilizing resources takes time. It's not. So I think some of the people are feeling restless, though nothing is happening. actually huge effort is in mobilizing the resources. You just cannot blink and go for an action. So I think country is in a systematic manner moving ahead for whatever drastic action that is required. I think, Vishnu, now water has crossed over the head. There is a time, that is the feeling in the country. I understand no one wants a war because Pakistan has nothing to lose. It's a bloody rogue country, already bankrupt, surviving on IMF loans. But we are on way to become third largest economy. And the going to a full-scale war will actually hurt India more than Pakistan. But I think bahut ho gaya. And just killing terrorists is not the solution. We must break the backbone of Pakistan Army and ISI, which is the establishment, deep state there. And that is what is the root cause of problem.
All right. Well, I'd like to thank you both very much for being with us. It is going to take time in terms of progressing to any military action, should that decision be taken. But one way or the other, there is intense international pressure on Pakistan. They stand exposed as an exporter of terrorism, a hub of international terror. These are details which everyone has taken note of. The fact that you've got America now, from their Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, making the point that they are actually helping us in locating and in fighting these terrorists is very significant. It adds a basic important dimension in this battle against terrorism. We leave you with this report from my colleague Shiv Arur, who spent the last couple of days in Jammu and Kashmir reporting on various facets of the situation on the ground.
2 days after the Pahalgam massacre, the line of control is heating up rapidly. I'm standing here at line of control in Uri sector, and I'll tell you why that's important in just a moment. But here, along the line of control, that you see there is POK. The Jhelum River is the watershed marking the line of control, and we are reporting along the frontier, the engagement frontier, in many ways the operational frontier between India and Pakistan that has now been activated by the Pakistan army since late last night. Videos have emerged where you can hear machine gun fire. It had initially been reported that firing was only taking place in some sectors, especially this one, the Uri sector of the line of control where I'm reporting from today. But we now know, and NDTV can confirm, that those ceasefire violations by Pakistan last night have actually been taking place along the entire stretch of the line of control, all the way across many posts, but especially here. We are told that just north of where I'm standing on the LOC is a place called Tutmari Gully, where there was a sustained ceasefire violations since late last night. Now, the significance of ceasefire violations is a little complicated, and I do want to explain it because the context here, viewer, is very important. The ceasefire violations do take place periodically. India and Pakistan do have a ceasefire that is active at this point of time. But ceasefire violations taking place in the immediate aftermath of a massive terror attack, like the one that Pahalgam was, makes it belligerent, makes it escalatory, and sends out a different message. You may wonder why Pakistan is firing in the dark. What provoked them to fire? Well, it could be speculative firing. That is the largest consensus, that they're trying to fire in order to see where India's posts are, where the Indian army posts are, whether any movements have actually taken place in the aftermath of the Pahalgam terror attack, where the gaps might actually be, in order to elicit a response from the Indian side, in order to pinpoint where the Indian posts are and whether they've actually moved. It's actually an exercise in intelligence gathering, but there is another aspect to it. And as we report here, and there's a sign here, not very subtle, that says we are under observation, enemy observation, I can tell you that the Pakistan army, especially in light of the clarity that has come in from the Indian political leadership, that something big is coming up. Big military action possibly could be ahead, even though that has not been articulated or enunciated by the political leadership in India. The Pakistan military is also under pressure to show that it is not cowing down, it is not bending down, it is awake, it is alert. Awake is a word that the Pakistan military loves to use in the context of the Indian military, and that's what these ceasefire violations may also be about. Because remember, until the balloon goes up, until conflict actually starts, until a confrontation actually happens, possibly even here along the line of control, the truth of the matter is Pakistan has learnt very well from China about what mind games and psychological warfare is all about. And that's the reason why, whether it is Pakistani posts in POK in that direction, up that hill and beyond it, across the line of control behind me, there's firing taking place, or whether it's on social media where you've got many of the open source intelligence handles and social media accounts of the Pakistan army trying to paint a picture of a very, very ready, battle ready and prepared military looking for the Indian military to make its first move. Pakistan is trying to send out and radiate an image of readiness and preparedness. Now, it is not for us to guess or decide what military action or if military action will be taken. All indications are it could be. But this particular place where I'm reporting from right now has a huge amount of significance. This is a place from where infiltrations have regularly taken place. This is a place where the famous 2016 surgical strikes happened as well. And this is not very far from the Uri camp, where one of the worst terror attacks actually took place. And that's the reason why, as we continue to report and navigate the fallout of Pahalgam, where I'm standing could possibly be very, very important. At LOC Uri in Jammu and Kashmir, with Ashwini Mehra, Shiv Arur, NDTV.